Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. In the last part, we escaped execution, and wanting to not deal with shit, we've clearly come for an island vacation, because welcome to the island town of Mideel, where people are panicking about Meteor, as usual. This is probably my favorite town in the game aesthetically, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, there's also just so much stuff to do here. I think that's one of my favorite parts about this area, is that it seems like a backwater town, like there's not much to do, but there's a lot of stuff you can get.
For instance, right now we're talking to this Chocobo, we want to give it a Simoleon green, which is actually Mamet green. Simoleon's a mistranslation, and then we want to tickle behind his ears. Doing that will cause it to drop a magic materia, one of my favorite in the game, Contain. Freeze, break, flare, and one other spell I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head.
Tornado,
which Tornado and Flare can be useful spells on their own, but the main reason I get that is because when partnered with added effect, you can induce Stop, Petrify, or Confuse. And in the case of Petrify in particular, that is essentially an instant death you can inflict on an enemy with a physical attack, and that's really good. Now, I'm talking to a lot of people throughout this town, even though, like, 4 of the NPCs are the same lady in different shops. Essentially just to give you an idea of what most people are talking about throughout the world at this point, because after Meteor's summoned, a lot of them either become panicky, generally nihilistic, or otherwise defeated.
Yeah, they just don't care.
There is some stuff I want to buy here, though, otherwise. In particular, I want to buy basically one of every weapon at the weapon shop. I think there's a couple I miss out on just because I don't have enough money, but I don't have to worry too much. They'll still be here later. But this particular room here is a very important one because it has a door.
Is it a door to nowhere?
Good question. Maybe it's a door that leads into a hallway of other doors. Or maybe it leads to the answers of all life. It's locked anyway, we can't really open it. And yeah, I want to buy essentially one of everything here. The only one I probably wouldn't buy off the top of my head is probably the Winchester, because again, Vincent's 255 accuracy weapons are just overall generally better, with one exception. So, not much point to it. I think I also come back and buy some crystal armlets later, but I don't have enough money right now. Either way, if we walk over this particular section here, we can find it plays a sound effect that indicates that there's an item you can grab there. The beat-up useless key. So we should probably use that on the door back there in a few moments.
Emphasis on useless. Ugh.
Yeah? Also, this lady here's an accessory store. One of the more disguised stores in the game, if you ask me, but...
I never noticed that.
The only one there that's really useful is the white cape, because being protected from Frog and Minnie is very good. But you only really need one of those anyway, because you'd probably be using it more than likely in the Coliseum. The only... well, not the case, the Battle Square. The only accessory that's better than that for that is the ribbon. Alright, let's use the key on the door, see what we can do.
Uh-oh.
Shit, we broke it. Yeah, about that door behind me? Yeah, I'll tell the truth. I broke it. Why is it a good one?
Sir?
You painted a door? I mean, I've heard of painting a door to look like something and then painting around it to make it look like a scene, but never painting an outright door. That's a new one.
So,
but for doing that, we get the almighty curse ring.
Award for best painter goes to that painter because he painted a 3D-dimensional knob on the wall.
But the good thing about the curse ring, it gives you really good stat buffs. I'll list the exact ones in my usual callouts, but it also gives you the condemned status. However, add that with Tifa's Power Soul and put her in critical health, you're doing 8 times damage. You'll probably be doing 7,000 to 9,000 with a normal attack around here.
Yeah, there's no need for Death Blow anymore.
Yeah. However, it's kind of broken. I'll use it a little bit later on, but it's not what I prefer to use. Oh, so yeah, what did those guys just say? Villager, about a week ago. Kid drifted in from somewhere, talked about blue eyes and spiky hair, I think? Shit,
That
we might have found
be
Cloud.
That is very Ex Machina, but I guess the live stream does pour out.
Yeah, I think Red had that throwaway line last part. It is kind of annoying when they don't go, when things just kind of happen, they don't always explain them, but at the same time, I feel like people are a bit harsh on elements like that in fantasy games when there's the whole system of magic and stuff that doesn't really exist, so how can we know if it works like that?
Having a rational mind in a not so irrational world, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's kind of the whole thing where people get on characters sometimes, and even I used to do the same thing. I try to less now, unless it's a really dumb moment, where they complain when a character isn't always thinking 100% rationally, but people aren't 100% rational. That's not how we are.
Nope. In times of crisis, people act very rashly.
Hey, Cloud, we found you, buddy. How you been?
Dirk? He is an eggplant or something.
You all right,
He's not
buddy?
functioning very well. I'm trying to come up with a word to describe what his current state is. And all I can really think of is like...
I'd call it catatonic, but I think catatonic people are more so in a coma, not so much making random sounds. But Cloud, he made it out through the live stream to here, but the problem with that is it gave him a case of Mako poisoning, which turns you into whatever's going on with him. And what I find interesting about this is it's essentially an advanced case of what makes soldiers soldier. Because soldiers are made soldier by infusing with Mako energy. But I guess this shows that there's either a limit people have, or it's a bit like alcohol in that there's a tolerance you have to build up to it. I believe off-screen when I was talking to you about applying with this, I kind of compared it to chemotherapy as a process, maybe, as how they make soldiers, by just slowly giving them doses of Mako. I think that's why they would do it like that, because otherwise you get a case like this.
Yeah.
But Tifa is obviously a little bit conflicted about seeing her friend like this.
Actually, that makes sense, because the same kind of system occurs in 6 with Magitech.
That's right, they build that up after a while. I would say I haven't played 6 in a while, but I've been watching I've been watching stream VODs of someone's playthrough of the Final Fantasy VI Brave New World mod, which is a very interesting time.
I need to play through that game again.
6 is really good.
I think it's among my favorites in the series. I have not been playing a lot of Final Fantasy recently either.
Yeah, we all have phases of stuff. Sometimes we have to put other stuff down to focus on others.
Yeah, I do time of the year, month, usually, season.
Yeah.
Fall is usually my Final Fantasy VI episode.
I have that with some Zelda games. Majora's Mask I tend to play once over the summer. One of the Oracle games I tend to play over the December area.
But you just finished Ages not but a couple days ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on to seasons later. By the way, going back to the game, Tifa has something to tell us. We were just talking about stuff out there about Cloud. I probably could have picked a better party to bring in than Yuffie and Vincent for that scene. Barrett and Red probably would have made more sense emotionally, but I feel like these two had enough cutscene screen time, really. Especially Vincent. Vincent basically gets no cutscene love at all. Tifa is deciding to stay with Cloud.
Vincent doesn't really have much to say apart from wanting to kill Hojo.
Yeah. Tifa is staying with Cloud, though, because, well, she's worried about him, and with the whole meteor thing going on at the world ends while we're trying to save it, she wants to do it with him, so... You know what? It's understandable. Good luck, Tifa. But that means now we're out of 3 party members out of the 10 we've gotten throughout the game. Or no, 9. 9 party members. I guess 10 technically counting Sephiroth during the flashback sequence.
Yes.
Now we have a little bit of an eavesdrop thing going on, because apparently Ketchi's non-robotic persona is somewhere in this room. So let's hear what they're talking about. They want to destroy Meteor, which I do like that they actually have a plan to destroy Meteor, because given that they're basically the world's superpower, they should.
They have an obligation to do so.
Otherwise, they'll die.
Yes.
It's a whole thing of trying to give... Like, I know how they'd spin it. They'd spin it as them trying to save the world, but you know they're doing this only for their own gain. Corporatism at its finest. However, they need specific resources to do so. They're looking for things known as Huge Materia, which we've heard about before. In particular, all the way back at our first visit to Gongaga, Scarlet mentioned something along those lines. The only two that are left, because they already have the ones from Nibelheim and somewhere else, I forget where, I think Junin. They need to go to Fort Condor in North Corel. So we now have our next two objectives in mind.
Get the Huge Materia so that they can't do something stupid with it. That's the whole goal.
Absolutely. With that said, though, we should probably decide who's leader right now, because Tifa was kind of de facto because she was close to Cloud and was very proactive, but what do we do for a leader now?
Choose the dog. Dogs are good leaders. Choose Red.
He is reliable.
He is reliable, but he can't do all the things a human can. So that is one small issue he faces.
Yuffie's too young for it, I think, at this point. Ketchi, I doubt they trust him as enough to do that at this point, given being Shinra. How about Sid? Yeah, Sid, that works. This is his ship. They talked about how reliable he is earlier. Plus, he knows Shinra secrets without being a Shinra employee.
Yes, very much.
Welcome to Command, Sid. And something I think is in the game, if I'm right about this, I'll see if I can find the pictures and put them up on screen right now. But I think there's dummied out models for the Chocobo races with Tifa and Sid in the lead. We're there on the Chocobos.
Huh.
Obviously, it's very minor, and I can honestly understand why they would cut off access to that minigame at this point, given the stuff that's going on, but it's interesting that they at least made the models, which makes me wonder what they were originally planning for it. Now, at this point, we obviously are going to have to go set up our party, but you have two options. You can just head to North Corel outright, or you can head to Fort Condor. You need to head to both eventually, but you can go about it in whichever order you wish.
So it becomes half open-ended at that point.
Sort of. I'd more compare it... I wouldn't say open-ended, I'd more say...
Open world, rather, maybe?
The thing that comes to mind immediately is that portion towards the end of the World of Balance in 6, where you have a couple of options where you can go before heading to Tamasa.
I was thinking even after Tamasa, just before entering the floating continent, you can go pretty much anywhere.
You know what? That's actually a really good comparison right there. There you go.
Shoutouts to the small triangle island full of behemoths.
Tangier. Ability points. Oh, I know. Is it ability points or spirit points in that game? I forget.
I think it's ability... I think it's ability points. I don't remember. I was gonna say magic points.
But that's MP. Ah, well, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to head to Fort Condor first. You saw what my party was lined up as earlier. I believe I have Sid in the lead, then Yuffie and Vincent still. The only difference from whatever I had before was, I think at this point, Sid has all of Tifa's materia, except he also has Contain an added weapon, added effect on his weapon, and Vincent has the cursed ring. So let's talk to the old man, see what's going on.
Old wise man, tell us what to do with the world that is collapsing.
So he is very much... Shinra's going all in trying to get the Huge Materia from here, so what we have coming up is essentially the final Fort Condor battle. There's going to be no more after what's coming up. And there's a couple of ways that this scenario can go, but I'm doing the best one. Also, I mentioned earlier on in District 2 that by the time Meteor is summoned, a lot of the shops changed their inventory. The Materia shop here has added all materia in particular, which is very helpful for something I'm going to be doing in a couple of parts. I'll talk more about that when the time comes, though. Just keep that in mind. I think I buy 2 of those off screen. So let's go talk to the host of the minigame.
We have to give Fort Condor money to hire soldiers. Are they competent soldiers? I don't know.
Well, you're in luck, because they apparently have the most competent soldier in history. This is Jim. Jim has trained his entire life for this moment. His ancestor, Jim from Quest 64, told him what to do. He is ready to face all of these soldiers one-on-one in a battle for the century.
Not even the Chosen One can get past this many soldiers. Or can he?
I believe in you, Jim. Fight for everlasting peace. Jim!
Jim!
No! You had a family, you monsters. How could you do this?
You put him in this position. You were his manager. Shall you be fired, mister?
Shh. You're not supposed to know that. Yeah. I intentionally lost that Fort Condor minigame to show you what happens when you lose one. Whenever you lose one, you have to face off against a Commander Grand Horn. 2,000 HP, 200 experience points, 20 AP, 2,400 gil. No elemental weaknesses. They can poison you. Their most dangerous attack is, I think, Grand Attack, which does decent damage, I think. Otherwise, they can drop a Vajirisk Claw, which I believe inflicts Petrify upon use. You can fight one of these at any point if you lose a Fort Condor minigame, and I think it still counts as a victory for the minigame, but you might not get the reward, is what happens.
That was gonna be what I asked.
However, if you lose one of these fights, something very different happens. You lose complete access to Fort Condor, and that includes right now. If you lose that fight, you lose access to Fort Condor and its shops forever!
As well as the Huge Materia, I think.
Yes. The entire thing with this part of the game is it's required, but victory is technically optional. Oh shit, the Condor. What's going on? Is the egg gonna hatch?
Oh.
Are you gonna see a baby Condor?
Baby.
Okay, that's...
Whoa,
fire! Man, that had to be a very spicy egg. Bird!
Oh,
No! Nice little change, by the way, at this point. When you leave Fort Condor, you'll notice the Condor's no longer on the world map. So, oh, it's a baby! And it's also the Phoenix Materia, what? So the Condors are Phoenixes?
Huh.
Actually, I think that might be a different name depending on the region. But yeah, we get the Phoenix Materia. It's a summon, fire elemental damage. I believe it revives downed party members upon use. Potentially very useful under certain boss conditions, but I don't like to use summons in the long run anyway, outside of showing off the animation every now and then.
They could, honestly, actually, I like using them for their magic enhancements. For my magic
That
users.
is a good point. They are good for stat boosts. You are right about that. The only ones I tend to use a lot, as you probably know throughout this LP, is the Bahamut line.
Uh-huh.
And we got the Huge Materia for that. Yeah, the materia within the reactor the entire time was a Huge Materia. But as we brought up earlier, the entire reason they've been fighting the good fight here at Fort Condor isn't to prevent them from getting whatever in the reactor. It's for the Condors. It's essentially a bunch of hippies. Conservationists. You know what? They're right. But yeah, if you lose the minigame, you get thrown out right in this next screen, and you never can enter again. I want to use those shops, so I'm going to win that. And for this next section, I replaced Yuffie with Barrett. I gave him all the same materia, though. Because that is actually one thing I've been trying to do throughout this LP. By the way, we're heading towards Mount Corral right now, but I just want to bring this up. One thing I'm trying to do with this LP, and I hope I've been doing a good job with, for those maybe trying to play along with it or something, is show my materia setups as often as I can, because I only tend to change it before and after an area. Because one thing that's irritated me about some playthroughs I've watched over the years is they kind of skimp over showing you what the materia is. They'll say, maybe, I'm going to go change my materia and be right back, and then never talk about what they changed. And if they do, they usually just go, okay, I got restore all, and then they'll just kind of skim over the rest of it without really going into detail.
Lame. Not good. Don't do that.
I know I haven't exactly talked about why my materia setup's why my materia setup. That's also because maybe I don't want to spoil potential boss fights coming up and such for newcomers. I have my reasons, but I try to at least show off what's going on. Anyway, now it's time for us to finally head back to the North Corel Mako reactor. We haven't seen this since, like, part 12 or something?
Definitely disc 1.
Yeah.
Most definitely disc 1.
But we're not even going to enter the Corral reactor itself because apparently they're escaping with the Huge Materia on a train. I do wonder if in the remake they're going to make this place an outright dungeon because that looks so cool. Just a giant hole in the ground like that. Also, I'm just now realizing the number 27 over there probably means this is the 27th Mako reactor, so there's a lot of these across the world. Also, why didn't we jump on the train while I was leaving?
I don't know. Ask our leader.
And our leader even has the jump limit break. I mean, come on, Sid, you're the Dragoon. I mean, I guess I can understand Barrett. He's only got one hand, doesn't want to lose it, trying to grab onto it. Vincent. Well, no, Vincent, you're practically a vampire. You could probably fly a little bit. But no, thankfully they have another little train here that we can just get on and ride on over to.
Why?
However, you do need to play catch-up. You need to alternate, I believe it's pressing up and triangle here. You have a time limit of 10 minutes for this section. If you don't reach it by the end, I believe you lose out on the Huge Materia and something else happens.
You make a lot of people upset, that's for sure.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to bring up here, and this is a bit of a superstition on my end. There's another part of this section where you need to use the X button coming up. And I swear if you have your control set to custom, it doesn't work properly. So I ended up swapping my controls back to default for this little section here. So instead of using X to confirm like I have been for most of the game, I'm back to using circle.
Where did that superstition even come from?
It comes partially from, and this is all from my own experience. There's a couple of points in this game where I swear they programmed some minigames to only work with the standard control set, at least work consistently. So customizing your control set causes some, either the button not to work sometimes when you press it, or just for it not to work at all.
Well, that's a little bit strange. So I'm not even going to go over this enemy.
Because it's dead.
Correct.
Contain added effect is
oh my god, you actually
kind
get
of
experience
ridiculous.
out of that. That's dumb.
It's so good.
That's dumb. Alright, well, this is a gas ductor. 3000 HP, 900 XP, 1100 gil, and 75 AP. No elemental weaknesses. Fairly vanilla enemy. I don't think there's anything they can actually, do to you. Let me see. Oh yeah, Smuggler can have it can inflict sleep, poison, sadness, or darkness on the target, and it's random. I don't think it's actually a multitude of the two.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you can use it a couple times in a row too. Aqua Lung gets rid of them pretty easily though. I just physically attack them. Next up is I think this is the Wolfmeister, and I don't have that tab up for some reason. I know it has 10,000 HP though, and that's why you're going to see me use the laser here, because gravity attacks is the best way to take that out, because this guy also has a ridiculous defense stat, I believe. Let's see, 10,000 HP, yeah, 10,000 experience points, 100 AP, 600 gil. Weak to water, so Aqualung is again very useful here. And in the case you haven't gotten Big Guard for some reason, I think you might be able to manipulate this guy and get it. No, it's immune to it, so never mind. Ow!
This guy's nothing to toy around with.
Yeah, he is big for a reason. He does really hurt. Atomic Ray in particular. Heavy Sword's also nothing to mess with. However, thankfully, Big Guard doesn't matter too much, given that I'm using gravity-based attacks, which ignore magic defense anyway. It's percentage-based. Ah, dick! I just got him back up. And now he's losing out on that experience, although it's not like...
Dude, that's like the worst thing about some enemies in this game, is when you, like, revive your character and they knock them right back down.
Oh, dude, one of the worst experiences I've ever had with that is 6, with Rex Soul. Have to kill a character to get him out, and then you revive him, then the Soulfire just gets rid of him immediately anyway.
Just vanish doom him. That's what I do to him, even though it's not the way he's meant to be fought.
I just X-Zone. That works automatically.
What? Oh, like straight up?
Yeah. Also, this is the Eagle Gun.
Oh yeah, that is the Eagle Gun. 17,000 HP, 2,000 experience points, 90 AP, 3,800 gil, weak to lightning. Immune to water, very interesting. You can steal a warrior bangle from it, which I think is strength plus 20. I might be wrong there.
Sounds right.
And you can get an X potion from it, which is pretty good.
I always try to get the warrior bangle. just for the sake of getting it. But in the case you don't worry. There's other equipment that can give us the buffs you want later on anyway. Also, that satellite beam, Barrett's first level 3 limit break. Automatic critical hit, I think it's like 2 and 3 something X times damage. Obviously, the first time a limit break shows up and we're not talking about it, I just do a little thing anyway.
Uh-huh.
And now we need to fight this guy. I think, again, like the 2 guards at the entrance to the reactor, which I forgot to mention, I think that guy's just a member of the attack squad that we saw back in, like, Junin or...
June, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, now we need to use the brakes, and to do that, we need to press both of the buttons at once. However, that's only speeding us up, Sid. That's probably not a good idea. And this is where I swear screws up if you have your controls customized. I swear I've had it where if I have X set to confirm, it doesn't work correctly. Could also just have been me pressing the buttons wrong.
This is based on experience, right?
Yes. From when I was much younger, but yes. Also, we're still speeding up shit. Oh.
Don't worry, we're fine.
If you run out of time, it crashes there, and you lose out on the Huge Materia permanently. So that's 2 Huge Materia you can potentially permanently miss out on. As well, you also miss out on an opportunity to give what this kid's about to give us for free.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we saved your lives, and look, it's Barrett. Don't you guys feel like assholes now?
Oh, dear.
That's also why I brought Barrett in for this section, because while it's not required, it just makes me feel better to have these people know that he's one of the people who saved their lives. And you get the Ultima Materia for that. You can buy that from them as well if you fail that, but it costs a ridiculous amount of gil. I want to say, like, at least 100,000.
100,000, probably, yeah. We could look that up.
Yeah. The Ultima Materia is like with Full Cure. Before you can technically use the spell, you need to level it up once, but once you get it, it's the most powerful standard attack magic in the game. Technically, some enemy skills can be better, but it's powerful as it is. But with that, we've gotten the 2 Huge Materia that Shinra talked about in that cutscene, so I guess we should go check in on Cloud and Tifa.
So, what's like the reward you get if you get all of the Huge Materia? If there even is one.
There is, but it's not a direct reward. We'll talk more about that in a couple of parts. Also, we should talk to this lady right here, because apparently, I forget if you need to save Krill to do this, but if you talk to her at this point in the game after doing that, you get Catastrophe, which is Barrett's level 4 limit break. Can't use it yet, but I have it. Honestly, I think his second level 3 limit break is better than it, but I'll grab it.
Mm-hmm. I've always loved the level 4 limit breaks. Well, mostly Tifa's and Cloud's.
Cloud's, Tifa's, Vincent's, and Sid's are really good to me. Red, Barrett's, I think Yuffie, and a couple others, I think benefit more from their second level 3 limit break because you can get more damage in with it. It's one of those things where inherently it's more powerful, but it does less damage due to less hits.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I really like Tifa, is that even if you have her at level 4, due to how her limit breaks work, you have access to all 7. Whee!
Why do you have it oriented this way?
I just find this funny. I think to do that, you have to press one of the shoulder buttons and hold in the opposite direction of the D-pad, and you just enter an initial D deja vu drift, and it's just funny to me to imagine everyone, like, grasping on a handlebar, trying not to fly out a window. Either way, welcome back to Mideel. And I could have grabbed this during the first visit, but I forgot to. There's an elixir in this dude's house.
Oh.
The reason I didn't grab it earlier is because you're automatically taken out of Mideel after the cutscene with Cloud, and you trigger the cutscene before you get close to this house.
Ugh. As stated before, there's so much to do in Mideel. So much stuff.
I love this town. Also, another thing you can do after you come here the first time, in case you want to come back here, if you're like grinding in the area, the inn in this town is free. Mideel is a very good place to grind, though. Less so for experience points.
Yeah, you get like...
More so for ability points. This comes into play again in a couple of parts from now.
200 per fight or something?
In the forest, you get between 300 something and 400 something.
Oh, wow, that's insane.
Without doubling. It's really good. Oh, he's still on the number thing. I love this song. It's sad but eerie.
They're coming.
They're coming? Cloud, that's the most lucid thing you've said since we met back up. What's wrong, buddy?
They're here.
Oh, that'll be a really different scene.
That would be very different.
We should see what the hell's going on outside. Oh, didn't we hear the song last part?
When Weapon attacked, right?
Yeah, uh-oh. And Livestream spurting out and the planet screaming, oh, this is just a bunch of bad. You should probably stay inside to guard Cloud so no debris falls on his head, Tifa. No, Lord knows he's not going to do it himself. Though that does bring up a funny image of like something almost falling on Cloud's head, then like his soldier reflexes come in and he just bats that shit out of the way. While still being like, Gert.
Yeah, still kind of incapacitated.
Yeah, and that's definitely a weapon. In fact, that's the dragon we saw earlier, though it looks much smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really small.
And we gotta fight it. This is Ultimate Weapon. When I showed up my equipment a few moments ago, I forgot to comment on this. You want to make sure you have Tetra Elementals on, because this thing can use Quake 2, which at this point is very powerful. However, Tetra Elementals absorb it. Has 100,000 HP, and the biggest thing you need to worry about from it is its Ultimate Beam technique, which is going to do at least, I want to say, 1,000 plus damage. Off the top of my head. Also, might as well show off Phoenix. Ooh, pretty bird.
It's pretty bird, oh. Oh!
Get your ass out of the way! Damn it! Ultimate weapon, you fat ass. That was underwhelming amount of damage.
Well, that was a spectacle.
Now, I said this thing has 100,000 damage, but this battle has a couple of different win conditions. You can either deal a certain amount of damage very quickly, or you just let him take 3 actions. The same result happens either way. In fact, I've seen some playthroughs, I believe, use haste on it to speed it up. Yeah, Ultimate Beam does around 1,000 damage. Probably would be doing more if I had lesser equipment on. Oh yeah, here it is. I want to say you have to do between. Yeah, you have to reduce his HP by 80,000 for the other way to happen.
Oh my god,
Jesus.
that's 80%
That's 4/5
of
of his health.
That's definitely 80% of his health.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. The 3 turns is much more likely to happen.
Is it possible to actually kill him?
It's probably theoretically possible to reduce his HP to 1, but the moment you reduce his HP below 20,000, he leaves. You would probably need to do absurd grinding, have real limit breaks built up from the start. You'd need to do a lot of preparation.
You'd need to do, like, ×4 cut quad 9s, or have all 7s.
Yeah, Lucky 7s is the best way for that to happen. And have we even mentioned Lucky 7s yet?
I don't even think... No.
Yeah, Lucky 7s is a status ailment, sort of, where if a character's HP ever hits 7,777 in the midst of battle, they do, like, I think, like 7 hits or something ridiculous.
Oh god, no, it is way more than 7 hits. It's way more than 7.
You do some amount of hits, I'll put the amount on the screen right now, of 7,777 damage. It's ridiculous. It's also absurdly rare. I've only ever had it to be naturally once. Also, yeah, the live stream's still erupting, so Tifa, Cloud, get the hell out of there! Also, I like how the doctor's only like, yeah, you know what, that's probably a good idea. We should probably move.
Yeah. Also, Cloud's not, like, rolling around all over the place, even though his wheels are nuts.
Yeah, that's an animation failure. You can tell that they meant that to be his animation while he's moving, but they just kept his model static. Oh dear, that's violent.
Whoa, dude.
Almost out, almost out, almost shit. Now, I know this scene is serious and all, but seeing his bug-eyed stare and the fact that he falls out of the chair in the sitting position takes the mood out of this scene completely.
Oh.
Either way, shit, that's another 2 party members permanently dead. Crap. Well, thank you guys for watching, and in part 26, I guess we deal with the fact we've now lost 3 people permanently, and see where we can progress from there.
Yeah. 7 people stopping meteor sounds fun.
I mean, hey, it's appropriate. 7. Wait, no, 6. 'Cause, shit, no! See you guys then.